So I hope you are well. That is a phrase that is often used, but rarely meant. And now it is very significant when you say, I hope you're well. I hope you are well during these uncertain times. But what I want to do is share a video with you talking about what I'm doing, what I think perhaps you could be doing during this period, give you some perspective on things, and hopefully give you some sort of path to follow over the next few weeks or so, or however long this situation takes place. But I think there are some lessons to learn in there as well. And I'm determined to look at everything like an opportunity. And from that perspective, I mean, well, you'll begin to understand what I mean as we go through this video. It may or may not be what you think, but this situation has been thrown upon us, and I'm determined to get something out of it, basically, that will allow me to move forward positively. So yeah, what a strange situation we find ourselves in. And I remember somebody once saying to me about how you deal with unusual situations and how to get the most out of them. And as you know, I'm a generally sort of more positive thinker. And that wasn't something that was natural to me, because I used to be a bit of a worrier when I was younger. And I'm better now than I've ever been at beginning to assess situations and dealing with setbacks and overcoming problems. But, one thing about worrying about any situation that you're in is that anything that you know about is probably the stuff that you shouldn't know about. And I think we've been proved that with the situation that we're in at the moment. There's a great song out there called Sunscreen. I don't know if anybody knows that, remembers it, or is familiar with it, but you should be able to find it on Spotify. And there's a great line in there which says, worry, but know that worrying is like trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum. And I think that that's a good way of looking at it, really, because things that you know about are things that you necessarily can quantify and that you shouldn't be worried about. The things that you don't know about are things that just hit you unexpectedly. And I think the situation we find ourselves in now is one of those situations. I was talking to somebody late last year, and he was saying, what are you investing in at the moment? I said, well, I'm not really enthusiastic about anything at the moment, putting a bit of money here and there, but not really doing a great deal. And he said, yeah, but it's a bull market, it's roaring ahead, and, all of these sort of things. And that was precisely the reason that I wasn't getting fully invested in stuff. And you either don't put money to use, or when you get income from investments, you can park it in cash. And I've been generally parking in cash for a little while and investing in some of the companies that I think are going to be around for 5 or 10 years, but wasn't particularly really gung-ho and putting loads of money in. I was tending to pull money out the same way as I do in Betfair trading, as I do in financial trading, is that as something moves into a profit, I tend to ensure that I can't make a loss at it. And you tend to push yourself into the situation where you can hold on to investment even if it declines, and you do that because you can generally do better and you can look at a much longer term horizon. So yeah, I said to him, that I wasn't doing much. And he said, well, why? What's stopping you? Why aren't you going all guns and leveraging 50 times and really riding this bull run to its conclusion? And I said to him, well, historically things sort of tend to stop that. And he goes, well, what's going to stop it? And I said, I don't know. It's the unknown that I'm more worried about, the things that I have no awareness of that are going to crush it all. So, as you can see, the financial markets have been all over the place and have necessarily reacted negatively to the entire world economy getting switched off, as have most people. I would think it's unprecedented. It's very difficult at this moment in time to figure out where we're going to be when it comes out of it. It all depends how quick the recovery is and stuff like that. But herein lies, some of the opportunity. When I went to visit Warren Buffett and got to ask him a question, I pondered for ages about what I should talk to him about. And I decided to talk to him about the 73, 74 bear market, because that was a moment when it looked like the world was about to end. And I said to him, what was your thought processes, what you're thinking, how did you approach the market at that particular point? So I was sort of preparing myself for moments like this to understand what I needed to be doing when and how. And, that all of that action plan is going to sort of come into place now. But it's funny because I've sort of ignored, because I haven't had much to do in those markets in terms of longer term investments, I've sort of ignored it and left things a little bit tatty for a while. And as a consequence, the first thing I did when we went through this self-enforced shutdown of sport was I tidied all of that up. So I spent a little bit of time, a week or two, beginning to get all of those things back into order so I can put myself in the best possible position from this point onwards. I had money deposited with brokers, but some of it was in the wrong place, in the wrong currency and stuff like that. So I just had to shuffle it around, make a few things, put in the right place for the opportunities that are probably likely to come. And, you know, what I'm talking about in terms of opportunities are the opportunities to buy companies and hold them for a long period of time, create the foundations for the next bull run, if there ever is one to come again, because of course the world is about to end. But nonetheless, I've sort of putting myself in the position where I can decide what to do with asset allocation and how I want to do it and stuff like that. So that was probably the first thing I did when we had the self-enforced shutdown with sport. But I have been trading on some sports as well. So for example, the Australian racing, it's been a bit over the place at times, but that has been continuing. So I have done some work on Australian racing and a few other bits and bobs. But one of the things that has been quite a relief for me actually is not having stuff to trade on necessarily. Now, I do sort of trade almost 24/7 because I automate stuff now as well. But I still work manually in the markets because there are opportunities on both sides of those coins. You know, it's great to have automation because I can just sit here and not have to think about it, or I'll be asleep tonight and the automation will be working in Australia overnight. But nonetheless, you know, I can still do manual trading, and therefore I feel compelled to continue to do that. And it's a funny thing because obviously I've been going for 20 years now, or the best part of 20 years. And you sort of feel, you know, some people say to me, oh, why didn't you just throw it in? But the fact is, if you have never, you know, I've worked my whole life for this type of opportunity. And then when it's granted to you on a plate, well, I say a plate, nothing's ever granted to you on a plate. You understand where I'm coming from. It's the opportunity is given to you. You take it. But also, you know, I feel the need to carry on doing that because it's such a great opportunity. I feel it would be a disservice to not take that opportunity continuously and to go where we go from there. But also, once I started doing it and I wanted to push it to the absolute limits, and there's still a couple of longer term goals I want to achieve, a couple of things that off the list of what most people would try and achieve, but I still want to do it. So my motivation is still there to be able to sit down and actively trade. And that's been, you know, my mindset for a long period of time. You know, I discovered trading when nobody else even knew that you could trade. Obviously, BetAngel was created to help me trade, you know, best part of 20 years ago. And when you establish yourself in the market, there's this sort of role you have to play of continuing to be there. And you also want to defend your turf, as it were. But you also want to achieve some of those longer term goals. And you don't achieve those by resting on your laurels or not going for it. So that's been my philosophy for a long period of time. I always look back at what I was doing last year, last month, that previous race, previous Cheltenham and so on. And I'm always looking to strive to better myself consistently, just like sort of, you know, an athlete would, for example. And so I've always had this drive because I wanted to push the boundaries of what I could achieve. I always wanted to try and do better than the previous year. And then suddenly it's not there. Yeah, I was doing really well in 2020. I was up about 10% like for like year on year. And I'm thinking, oh, this is better than I expected. And we've still got the Euros and, you know, all of these wonderful events to come, the Olympics and so on. And then suddenly that's gone. And actually, it's been quite nice. And the you know, not having to chase down a target from last year, I haven't had that experience for nearly 2 decades, believe it or not. So all of a sudden, I now know that I've got no chance of achieving that. It's, if I look at March has been all right because I had a good Cheltenham, but April, what's going to happen there? You know, will racing be back by May? Not so certain at this moment in time. All of the other events have fallen by the wayside. No Grand National. You could actually sort of sit there and think, oh no, you know. But in fact, it's been quite cathartic. I've quite enjoyed not having that pressure for a period of time. And what it's done is it's sort of opened me up to getting a few other things sorted as well. So actually, I think I'm going to quite enjoy this little period. It's been enforced on me, but all of a sudden, I know that I'm not going to hit those targets from prior years, so why not use the time creatively and start doing a few other things? And by a few other things, obviously I've just talked to you about the financials, but I'm talking more specifically about, I've collected terabytes of data on markets. Some of it I've analysed, some of it I haven't used. But also you get little moments, well, like I spotted something in the market last year that I thought was unusual. And when I first saw it, I wasn't sure if it was my imagination. And then I saw it again, I'm thinking, well, there's definitely something there. And then I began to sort of build an idea that there possibly was something there. So in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, I've gone back and looked at that and nailed it and spotted exactly what I could feel when I was manually trading, but that I couldn't quantify. So I've now quantified that, and I'm going to research and dig a little bit deeper on that. So having the time to be able to do that is something that I generally don't have the luxury of. Anybody that deals with me knows that there's like a billion plates spinning all of the time, and I have to keep running between all of them. And now I suddenly have that lovely focus that allows me to get in depth and analyze that. And I think it's something that you could do as well during this period. You know, if you go onto the forum, there's lots of discussion about different things, but we've also got lots of data on there as well. There's a brilliant football database on there that you can wade through. We've got other bits of data and all sorts of stuff on there that you can basically get advice, guidance on, download, play with it and stuff like that. So this is one of the things that I'm going to be doing, is basically catching up on that stuff. Some of this data I've already analysed, but it could do with a bit of tidying up, and I could probably do with writing it up as well and putting it onto paper. You may have seen on Twitter that I have posted a couple of bits of interesting charts that I've been working on and stuff. So my plan is to be able to work through all of that so that when everything returns, I'm going to come back with a whole bunch of new ideas and things to implement within the market. So I think it's a good time for doing that sort of stuff. Suddenly I have the focus to sit at my desk and work on those sort of things, which I haven't had for a long period of time. So I'm looking forward to going through that, and I'll be sharing some of the stuff with you. Some stuff's a bit sort of out there in terms of what it is. You would have needed 15, 20 steps before you reach that stage, which may not be of use to you, but I'm going to find it fascinating, and I'm planning to use it when the markets return. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing all of that sort of stuff. And inevitably, I'm going to put some more stuff on YouTube as well, and on the Academy. There's some stuff I'm going to upload to the Academy soon on in-play racing, which I can't put on YouTube for reasons that will become apparent when you view it on the Academy. But yeah, and I'm going to do a few more YouTube videos and stuff because I've always got a long list of what things I want to talk about, but I never seem to get around to being able to do it. Now, I could bombard you with videos every day, but the problem with that is I don't think you particularly get any value. I want to focus on the quality rather than the quantity. I think it's very easy on YouTube and all sorts of forms of social media to just go for the low-hanging fruit and essentially produce stuff that's clickable. But, I think if you're going to learn something, you have to do it the right way. And I'm sure that sort of shows through over time. The channel's been growing for a long period of time. It's getting busier. We've got more subscribers than ever and stuff like that. And I think that's because of the quality of the content, not because I have a picture of a half-naked woman on my thumbnail or something like that. So yeah, I want to do some of those, and it's inevitable that out of this period I'll be able to do a lot more of those. But what I suggest to you, and I'm going to produce a separate video on this, so like and comment on that video, is that you tell me some of the stuff that you're interested in. I've got so much information locked up here. I've traded many different markets. Sometimes I just assume that people know stuff. And the fact is that if you ask me the right question, you'll probably unlock some golden nuggets of information out of all of that sort of stuff from within there. So yeah, I think that there's quite a lot of work to be done. I think that this is a good time to do other things as well. I've been enjoying sorting the garden out, for example. All of my family at home. My daughter came back from university. My son was told to work from home. And suddenly we're all together as a unit again. And I'm quite enjoying that. And I can dip in and out of things as I choose to see fit, which is something that typically you can't do with trading. Yes, we go on holidays and we do other events and stuff like that, but it's typically trading. I've shoehorned it in around trading. There's a big meeting on Saturday. I've got to make sure that I can trade the Friday and the Saturday, and maybe it's been like that for a few years for me, but suddenly it's quite nice not actually having to do that and being able to sort of think, oh, I can't solve this problem now, I'll come back to it 2 hours later. I'd forgotten what that feeling was like. It's actually quite nice to be able to go through that. So yeah, while this time is going to produce a few challenges and problems, problems occur all of the time. It's how you deal with them that's more important than anything else. And I think also I'm looking at this time off as an opportunity. There aren't going to be many sports around. Don't know how long the Australian racing will continue, for example. But it's a great opportunity where it's just completely blanked out, and it gives me the opportunity to focus on a few things that perhaps I'd not been focusing on or had forgotten about for a period of time. But so far I'm quite enjoying it. It's quite a novel and unique experience for me, and it's something that I'm looking to get the most out of. So my advice to you is there are plenty of things to be doing. You've got the forum where you can chat to other traders. That's got data and other things. You're going to have loads more videos to watch soon. And I'll be able to guide you through this so that you're ready when the markets come back. Look at some new ideas, some new projects. Spend a bit more time with your family. Do lots of other things. Do all those things that you couldn't do before that you now have the opportunity to do. And hopefully I will be able to help you and guide you through a few new things if you intend to make a real go of it when the sport starts up again. But certainly I'm going to be using my time wisely as possible. I'm also going to be making sure that everybody that I know and can help during this period stays safe and fit and well. And I hope that you are going to remain fit and well and try and do your best to get through this period intact. So yeah, I think use the time wisely. Plenty of things to be getting on with. But more importantly, make sure you stay safe and well. And I look forward to bringing you some of these additional contents. Look out for the other video that I'm going to produce alongside this, where I'm going to ask for your suggestions. And if you want to give me a decent suggestion, then feel free, and we can explore the markets together while we have the opportunity. I can't wait for everything to get back to normal. I don't know when that's going to be. Hopefully it will be sooner than we expect. But until then, make sure that you look after yourself, take care, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon.